Hey guys, I'm SKV and you're watching SKV Plays On, and welcome to another video of Warframe. This is a build video. It's called Hit, Run and Jumper. It's the same as the hit and run build I made for Volt. If you haven't seen that build video already, I've put it in the description. The link is in the description. You can check it out. That's the main build, and I'm using that as a reference to use the hit and run for other warframes. But what I noticed is it's not only a hit and run now, it's a hit, run and jumper build. I get to use this particular Helminth called the Infested Mobility. So the Infested Mobility will depend on your strength mods, and whatever strength you give, it's going to increase the sprint speed percentage and also parkour velocity percentage. I have already been using this particular Helminth for other warframes and have been using the hit and run style. But what I noticed is it's not only a hit and run style anymore. It's a hit, run and jumper style where you can literally use bullet jumps and normal jumps to glide across maps. It depends on your strength. So here's the build setup. If you haven't seen the Volt hit and run build, I've linked it in the description. Again, do check that out. It has the full explanation what is to be required for your primary, secondary, your melee and also your companion before you only mod your Warframe. I can't stress enough about how similar the build is going to be. The only difference is we do not have Wrathful Advance, which gives us red crits. Other than that, pretty much I'll be also showing you what other arcanes you can use as well, both for the main build and for this one. In the main build, I missed out on a point where you can make use of other arcanes like Molt Augmented. Coming to the Rhino setup itself for the mods, it's basically the same setup. Only thing missing is the fast deflection, and instead of the fast deflection, I added transient fortitude. I kind of went overboard with the strength to reach beyond 300%, but all you need is 220%. You don't have to kind of get 300. I went with 300 because I know Rhino also has roar, and it's a really good buff and support for teammates and for myself. So I have a really good damage increase on that, and I'm using a augment mod for roar, which helps me kind of activate roar even while it's already active. And if you notice, I have a 67.95 second duration on roar, so I really don't have to worry about it. Only time I reactivate it is probably when I'm near another ally who doesn't have the ability or buff active on them, so I kind of roar in their radius so that they get the buff. And if you notice, the special thing about piercing roar augment for the roar ability is that it gains 40% range, which means even though I have a negative range here, it still helps with an 18.5 meter range of a support, which means if allies are within this radius near my Warframe, I can give them the roar buff. Now, coming to the melee weapon damage increase, I'm using Steel Charge again and Arcane Fury as the previous build. Please do check that out. I can't stress enough. That's the main build video for the hit and run. This is just an inspiration, if you will, where I started using the Infested Mobility Helminth, which is right here, which is used for some warframes that will give me a whole lot of mobility and jump. But rather than just hit and run, this is hit, run and jumper builds where I can jump and glide through the air across maps. So it's really good when it comes to mobility with this Infested Mobility, because it's faster than Volt speed, just saying. Now, coming to the arcane itself, I'm still using Arcane Ice Storm because I like the synergy between my Hound freezing enemies and then this one getting activated. I would suggest people to use, or players to use, Molt Augmented. It's been the best way of increasing your ability strength. And if you've seen my main build, you know that you can get 100 kills within a minute, which means within 2.5 minutes or 3 minutes, you will reach the 250 stacks that you need for Molt Augmented. I'm just using Arcane Ice Storm because I'm trying to change it up a little bit with my playstyle, trying to do a little bit of freeze. I'm spreading a lot of different status effects on enemies, which really helps with my Hound. I'll get to that in a bit. Coming to the primary and secondary, it's again the same build, same as the first one. You definitely need to check that video out. It's got the primary dexterity, and secondary weapon has the secondary dexterity. Why? Because these dexterity arcanes increase the damage on the melee weapon and also gives me extra combo duration. Why do I need the melee combo? Because I'm using the Okina Incarnon. Again, coming to the Incarnon, let me get straight to the evolutions. All you need is the second one over here and then the fourth one over here. Make sure you've activated the middle one for the fourth. It's called the Alchemy of War. It's related to status. And then the evolution 2, you want to activate the second one called Synergist Surety. This also is related to status damage when you do critical hits. Now the others, obviously I've kind of kept it to movement speed because this is a mobility build. And speaking of movement speed, I'm also using one particular Parazon mod called the Hit and Run. This helps with parkour speed when I do a finisher on an enemy, so it increases my jump even more. I haven't tested it out. I'll do that in the gameplay right now, but check this out. This is the mod setup again. Same setup as the previous one. I'm not using the Riven setup. I'm using the normal setup itself. The only difference in this build is that it's Rhino and he's not using volt speed, but instead he's using the infested mobility speed. And the other difference you'll notice is because we are using infested Helminth, we do not have the Wrathful advance from Kullervo, which means I'm not going to be seeing red crits. There are not going to be red crits on the screen. You'll be seeing only yellow crits at best because I don't have Wrathful advance for the crit chance increase. But instead, I do have so much mobility that you can call Rhino as Zephyr. Basically, his bullet jumps are the same as Zephyr's first ability. Here is the setup again. You definitely want to have the melee influence, and like I said, I've set it up in such a way that it's blast damage and electricity. Electricity is going to kind of trigger my melee influence, which is going to do a lot of crowd control kills. Blast damage is also something that spreads over a good cluster of enemies, and it has a good radius for chain reaction, so it really helps. Now coming to the Hound itself, Hound has the again same setup as before. Hound is using the coolant leak for my Ice Storm arcane to get activated. This is the only mod which freezes enemies, and it doesn't freeze a whole bunch of them like how my Sentinel did. See the previous video, I've linked it in the description. The main build, hit and run build, that one has the Sentinel gameplay also. But I'm using the Hound here because I like the way the Hounds kind of run around in so many different directions with 30-meter radiuses, kind of spreading electricity on all enemies that are visible on the map and are kind of close to my Warframe. And of course, I am using duplex spawn to clone the Hound, synergize prospectors for the electricity spread that influences my, well, my melee influence basically. And my Akaten, the melee weapon that my dog uses, or my Hound, it has electricity separate again, but it also has 3 other elemental combos, which means I have more than 3 elemental combos happening at the same time, which means the Manifold Bond mod is going to help me with the ability cooldowns on my Hound, which means this electric discharge or projectiles will be happening more often because of the cooldowns on the ability for my Hound. And again, yeah, Madurai obviously for some extra damage. You definitely want to have Madurai when you want to boost your damage a bit more. Let me just show you what Rhino is capable of in the Simulacrum first. We are right now in the Simulacrum and I'm just picking up some energy. Here we go. You can see enemy level 210. This is the difficulty, and there are steel path enemies on top of that. They're not going to be moving around, they're stationary, but let me show you. Look at that, a few hits to build up my melee combo. You can also keep an eye on the minimap on the left side top. Few hits and they're getting destroyed completely. Look at that. They just disappear. And I got to activate my Incarnon form. Look at that. Literally disappearing. Enemies are disappearing when I hit them. That was just a 2-hit right now. I'm gonna do a roar and then a speed increase. 2 to 3 hits or 4 hits. That was just 1 slam and 1 hit. Have you ever seen Rhino move like this? Look at this. I'm literally gliding without having to aim glide also. I'm able to just glide. Look at this. Look at that. I just jumped off the map.
Don't forget.
It's a Scaldra run. Steel path right there. And it's a survival. I'm just doing 5 minutes of it. Let's just see if, just like the main build, hit and run build of Volt, I'm capable of getting 500 kills within 5 minutes.
Did I forget to mention that the scrubbers are prone to spore buildup that can spontaneously form a creature that'll absolutely bump your therapist up a tax bracket? Shoot off any buildup and you shouldn't have a problem! Knock the pus sacks off that scrubber before they sprout ahead!
And I've activated my Incarnon right now.
If the buildup gets any worse, it's gonna start making decisions. I warned you. I totally warned you. And now, it wants to have a conversation.
And I took out the monster as well.
What's the matter, Tech Rock? Got a little tummy ache? Hell Scrubber, coming up. Oops, Scald another too. They're coming for you.
Well, these are the tech rod. As long as I have a good amount of spawns coming in. Oh, we found the cache. Cache is gonna help me get around 150 to 200,000 credits. So let's try to get that. Is it somewhere here? That's the cache right there. Which way do I go?
Do something about that scrubber before it does something about you.
Oh. This way? I'm not able to find it. Need to find the key.
Keep your eyes out for another hell scrubber. I said shoot the pus off that. Oh, too late.
If it's submerged somewhere, then I won't be able to find it now, will I? Where could it be? Oh, found it. Found it. And there we go.
Fix it or lose it to the tech rock, which will be the least of your problems.
And there goes the acolyte. And it's 5 minutes. Time to extract and see if I was capable of getting a decent amount of kills.
Acquisitions. Like this. Don't worry, I'll share. Extraction is ready. I can't.
And you can see the extraction is in that direction.
Wanted to fight longer.
Let me show you what Rhino is capable of now. Look at this. He almost went outside the map just now. I'm actually out of this.
Scrubber going critical.
This is what Rhino is capable of now.
Which will be the least of your problems.
Look at how he kind of just glides through every place.
I told you to clean your health scrubber. Now look at what you have to deal with.
That was a 6-minute run. I don't think I reached 500 kills, but I was too busy searching for the key. I think probably 400. Yeah, I was able to reach 400 kills. If you have a molt augmented, you probably would have already activated your 250 stack of strength, and you would have gotten like 60% of strength if I'm not wrong. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This is the hit, run and jumper build, the second variation of the hit and run build, and a bit more of a, you know, better build compared to Volt's speed, but they both have their own advantages and disadvantages. speaking about advantages, the Volt Hit and Run build, you don't have to worry about not being able to activate his speed when it's already active. And it also has the much more higher duration when you have the 200 plus duration on your Warframe. And then of course we have the advantage of having Wrathful Advance, which gives us red crits. Now apart from this, you should know that he does not have parkour capacity with his ability, which is a disadvantage because his bullet jumps are trash. He's only good for speed. But this guy also has another way of buffing his allies. By putting down a shield, he can give allies a little bit of a damage boost if the allies choose to shoot through his shields. The third ability shield is what I'm talking about. If they choose to shoot through that electric shield, the damage output is buffed. Other than this, Volt can only give extra attack speed and extra mobility speed to other Warframes or other teammates in the squad. Now coming to the advantages and disadvantages of our current hit, run and jumper build, Rhino. I'm currently using the Rhino Deluxe skin. This is the heirloom skin that was recently introduced. And you can see I'm using the Tau Forge shards. You don't really need this. This is only because I wanted to reach 300% strength. At best, you just want to have 200 plus. Around 219% or 220 would be the ideal percentage of strength, and 250% of duration. The only thing that is increasing my strength right now is right here, Transient Fortitude and these Archon shards. Tau Forge Crimson Archon shards for strength. Now the advantages of this is that it's Rhino, obviously, and having so much strength gives me a huge buff on damage. And also I can buff my allies up. And because I'm using the Rhino Roar Augment, Piercing Roar, even though I have negative range here, I get another 40% bonus, which increases my range of roar to 18 meters. Now, if I take out this, okay, look at the range of my roar now. It's 8 meters. That doesn't help for allies because 18 meters would be much more better. A 10 meter bonus range on this particular buff would actually help, because I am kind of running around full speed. I will definitely reach each of the allies for sure. But if all of them are within the 18 meter radius, I would definitely buff them up immediately, and it has 67.95 seconds of a duration. So now let me give my piercing roar back to Mr. Rhino here. Another advantage of Rhino with this build is that he can go crazy like Zephyr when it comes to gliding across the map, which you saw just now. Bullet jumps are godly with this particular strength, which boosts the sprint speed and parkour velocity. And you will also notice that because of the strength, I have an advantage where I can activate my roar with my augment. This build, because of the augment, my Rhino has an advantage where I can activate my roar while it's already active. If the augment is not there, I cannot activate it while it's already active. So it doesn't help if I activated it somewhere else and then reached another ally and then tried to activate and I couldn't. That would be a waste. So I'm using the roar mainly for being a good support also, and having a lot of fun just jumping around. Now coming to the iron skin itself and the first ability, it's not that important for this build, but it definitely keeps me safe, Rhino safe, because my health is at 370 and shields are 555. They're pretty much defaults. I haven't buffed up the health and shield, so I definitely need Iron Skin, which is his default ability to protect himself. But Rhino with this mobility is pretty advantageous, and he can literally glide through maps. And of course, disadvantages now. You cannot activate the ability Infested Mobility while it's already active. That's a huge disadvantage. Why? Because it has another disadvantage with this, which is less duration. Even with 250 duration, I can only 250 duration percentage, I can only reach a duration of 20 seconds. And because it's at 226% now, it's down to 18 seconds. The only reason is because I'm using Transient Fortitude, which has a negative duration. But that's not the point. The point is, even though you can jump around like a crazy person across the map, you still have a disadvantage because you have to constantly monitor your duration going down on the Infested Mobility. Speed is great. Why? Because the strength percentage is gonna boost it above 150%. Above 150% is literally godly for this sprint speed. And of course, reaching 100% on the parkour velocity itself is godly for this particular ability. In other Warframes, when I use this ability, obviously I did not have 300% strength, so this is not the boost I was getting. For example, I'm using the same thing on Frost as well, for Frost Mobility. You can see here the 300% is not there for strength, but it is 223%, which gives me above 150 sprint speed and 93% parkour velocity. This also is pretty good. It's not as fast as Rhino, but very close to it. You will definitely not see that much of a difference, because just knowing that a slow Warframe like Frost or normal Rhino rather than Rhino Prime, they are pretty slow, and just knowing that they can run this fast as close to Volt as possible, and also be much more better than Volt by doing parkour, bullet jumping across maps, is insane. So yeah, that's the build. That's the advantages and disadvantages as well. Anyways, thank you again for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Until then, eto sayonara, etata, SUNA. Bye bye. I'm done with this particular video. And yeah, please do let me know which Warframe you kind of liked to use this build on, and what was it actually like. Because I've already showed you which Warframes I've tried it on. Maybe you guys can try it on some Warframes I haven't tested it on, and let me know what you think. Of course, you will kind of feel the absence of the red crits from Kullervo's Wrathful Advance, which was there on Volt's main hit and run build, but do let me know. I'm kind of very curious as to what you guys think about this build, and do you like the fast moving Rhino jumping across the maps? Man, he looks kind of cool with this deluxe skin. Anyways, that's about it. Thank you again for watching. I will see you guys next time. Until then, a sayonara, a tata, a see you, and a bye bye again. I am done. See ya.